Why did I want her?
Nice.
I can't. That's not why I'm here.
I'll tell you where to.
Where are we going to?
You can trust her. Hi.
We have the...
Who?
A woman.
Yeah?
I left her for Continental Security. I did not break and I didn't kill anyone. Understood. Business with these people?
You know more than me.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to make a purchase? After you, madam.
Large.
An AccuPoint 1 to 6 optic on top, TTI custom Benelli and easily.
It's a letter. Send somebody to... I'm not gonna hurt you.
The outsider has not been contained.
Lena!
Let the Chancellor blow it.
I missed you.
Hey guys, today we're diving headfirst into the adrenaline-pumping world of Ballerina 2025, a film that proves a pirouette can be just as deadly as a bullet. If you like this sneak peek, hit the like button and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel, and let me know you want more. This flick takes us deep into the lore of a certain assassin-filled universe, specifically following Rooney, a character we only glimpsed before as she navigates a truly brutal path to revenge. We start not with an explosion, but with a quiet, devastating evening that shatters a young girl's world. Young Rooney, a future force of nature, is a child in a quaint home, watching a ballet performance on a flickering television screen, totally unaware her life is about to take a hard right turn into unhappily ever after territory. The soft classical music is abruptly torn apart by the harsh, splintering sound of a door being kicked in. Suddenly, masked figures, moving with chilling precision, flood her family home. The muffled shouts, the thud of bodies hitting the floor, the terrified gasps. It all paints a picture of swift, merciless violence. Rooney hides, paralyzed, witnessing the brutal execution of her entire family. It's a scene designed to punch you right in the gut, setting the stage for every single vengeful step she's about to take.
It would be best
To seek shelter.
Years later, the shattered fragments of Rooney's childhood have been reassembled, but not into anything recognizable as normal. She's found a new, twisted family within the Ruska Roma crime syndicate, a kind of dark orphanage for lost souls, run by the formidable director. It's less Oliver Twist and more Kill Bill meets Black Swan. We see a much older Rooney, now a lean, mean, pirouetting machine, pushing her body to its absolute limits in a stark, utilitarian training hall. The floorboards creak and groan under the relentless pressure of her pointe shoes as she executes flawless fouettes. But these aren't just for the stage. Each elegant turn, each graceful leap, is immediately followed by a brutal takedown, a precise strike. We hear the sharp thwack of her bare hands hitting practice dummies, the grunts of exertion, the rapid, controlled breathing. Her training is a relentless fusion of classical ballet and lethal combat, a bizarrely beautiful yet terrifying dance of death. The director, a stern, unwavering figure, watches her every move, her silence heavier than any spoken command. It's clear that under this tutelage, Rooney isn't just learning to survive. She's being sculpted into an instrument of vengeance, honing her body and mind into a weapon as sharp and precise as any blade. The grief isn't gone. It's simply been weaponized. Rooney's first sanctioned performance is set not on a stage, but in the opulent, glittering confines of a high-stakes auction house. This isn't just an assignment. It's her bloody debut, the moment she truly steps into her role as the Syndicate's elegant enforcer. Dressed in a sleek, almost invisible black gown, she glides through the milling crowd, a ghost among the champagne flutes and hushed conversations. The clinking of glasses, the murmur of indistinct chatter, all form a deceptively peaceful backdrop to her lethal intent. Her target, a smug, well-protected arms dealer, is surrounded by burly bodyguards who look like they eat concrete for breakfast. But they haven't accounted for a ballerina. Rooney observes, blending into the shadows, before initiating her attack. One moment, she's gracefully sidestepping a waiter. The next, she's airborne, executing a flawless jeté that brings her within striking distance of her target. We hear the almost imperceptible snick of a hidden blade, the soft thud of a silenced fall. It's over before anyone even realizes what happened. The target slumps, bodyguards confused. She moves away as fluidly as she arrived, leaving behind only the faintest scent of perfume and the lingering whisper of death. It's an unnerving display of artistry and brutality, proving that some assassins don't need a gun when they have perfect posture and a mean arabesque. You'd think by now people would learn to respect the quiet ones, especially if they can do a triple turn. But Rooney isn't just a tool for the director. She's a woman on a mission, one she's kept simmering beneath the surface of every assignment. Her true objective? Unearthing the truth behind her family's slaughter. This pursuit leads her to a dilapidated, forgotten archive deep within the city's underbelly, a place where secrets gather dust like forgotten memories. The creak of rusty hinges, the whisper of dry paper, and the pervasive scent of mildew fill the air as she slips past a less than competent guard who, let's be honest, probably just signed up for a quiet night of crossword puzzles. Rooney navigates through towering stacks of old, brittle files, each labeled with cryptic symbols. The beam of her small, tactical flashlight cuts through the gloom, illuminating decades of criminal dealings and forgotten faces. She's looking for her faces, her past. The tension is almost palpable, a silent ticking clock as she sifts through countless documents. The subtle rustle of turning pages, the sharp snap of broken binding, these are the only sounds interrupting the deafening silence. Each discovery, however small, is a jolt of electricity, bringing her closer to the identity of those who orchestrated her family's demise. You can practically hear the gears grinding in her head as she pieces together a puzzle made of blood and bureaucracy. This isn't just research, it's an excavation of her own buried trauma. After countless hours hunched over faded documents and cryptic ledgers, the pieces finally begin to click into place for Rooney. Her makeshift war room, a dingy apartment borrowed from a former ballet colleague who clearly prefers not to ask too many questions, is plastered with a spiderweb of photos, newspaper clippings, and handwritten notes. The air is thick with the scent of stale coffee and desperation. We hear the sharp thumbtack sound as she connects another piece of the puzzle on her corkboard, the silence punctuated by the soft scratch of her pen. Then, a name. Not the name not yet, but a significant player. A low-level enforcer named Vasily. He was one of the masked figures she remembered, his cruel eyes etched into her memory. The click isn't just mental, it's almost audible, a sense of grim satisfaction. He's connected to a rival syndicate, the Volkovs, a group known for their ruthlessness and, well, their general lack of taste in interior decor, if their safe houses are anything to go by. This isn't just intel, it's a target. The hunt now has its first tangible prey, a waypoint on her bloody map of vengeance. Her movements become more deliberate, less driven by desperation and more by grim purpose. It's like when you finally find that one missing puzzle piece after tearing your house apart. Except, the puzzle piece is a person, and the tearing apart is metaphorical. Mostly. With Vasily's identity confirmed, Rooney's focus narrows, with the precision of a laser-guided missile. She tracks him to a secluded warehouse district, a place where rusty corrugated iron shacks loom under a perpetually gray sky. The harsh clang of metal, the distant drone of unseen machinery, and the biting wind are her only companions. Vasily, clearly enjoying a night of illicit gambling and lukewarm beer, is oblivious until Rooney makes her grand entrance, which involves less entering and more crashing through a skylight. The ensuing chase through the labyrinthine corridors of the warehouse is a masterclass in controlled chaos. Rooney's balletic agility allows her to navigate obstacles with impossible grace, leaping over stacks of crates, sliding under conveyor belts. Vasily, despite his bulk, is surprisingly fast but no match for her calculated attacks. We hear the thump of his body hitting a wall after a perfectly executed spinning kick, the gasp for air as she wraps him in a chokehold. The interrogation is swift and merciless. Perched precariously on the edge of a high loading dock, the city lights a dizzying blur beneath him. Vasily's bravado crumbles. He spills information about the Volkov Syndicate, a higher-up named Kale, and whispers of a grand operation that links back to her family. The cold wind whips his words away, but Rooney catches every terrified syllable. Once she has what she needs, the whoosh of him plummeting to the ground is surprisingly muted, swallowed by the vastness of the night. Turns out, some people just aren't cut out for cliffhangers, or literal cliffs for that matter. The information gleaned from Vasily points to a deeper conspiracy, a more powerful player. Rooney knows she can't go after Kale and the Volkovs entirely alone. She needs resources, intel, and perhaps a moment to breathe without someone trying to turn her into abstract art. This leads her, inevitably, to the Continental, the hallowed grounds of neutrality in the assassin world. The hushed elegance, the soft jazz music, the faint scent of polished leather and expensive whiskey. It's a stark contrast to the gritty underworld she usually inhabits. The distinctive ding of the elevator doors opening reveals Karen, ever impeccable behind the reception desk, greeting her with a knowing nod and a calm, "Ms. Rooney, a pleasure to see you again." In the dimly lit lounge, Winston, a man whose eyes hold more secrets than the Library of Alexandria, watches her approach, a subtle smirk playing on his lips. Their interaction is brief but weighty, a silent acknowledgement of shared history and mutual respect. Winston, with his usual enigmatic charm, provides a subtle warning about the escalating danger and offers the hotel's resources, emphasizing the rules. The rustle of paper as Karen hands her a new room key, the soft clink of a drink being placed on a table nearby. These little sounds anchor her in this temporary sanctuary. It's a pit stop, a brief calm before the storm, where the biggest danger might just be spilling a drink on Winston's expensive suit. Some sanctuaries come with a very strict dry cleaning policy, apparently. Armed with fresh intel and a temporary reprieve from being actively hunted, Rooney sets her sights on Kale, the Volkov Syndicate's brutal enforcer. His lair? A high-tech fortress, nestled within the upper floors of a gleaming skyscraper, a testament to his inflated ego and, frankly, questionable architectural taste. This isn't a front door kind of assault. This is a Spider-Man meets Giselle kind of infiltration. We witness Rooney, clad in a tactical, flexible suit that somehow still manages to be sleek, scaling the sheer glass exterior of the building. Of climbing gear against the metal facade, the whoosh of wind whistling past her, the subtle groan of strained muscles. Every sound amplifies the danger and the sheer physicality of her ascent. She breaches a high-floor ventilation shaft with a silent, precise snap of metal. Inside, the muffled hum of server rooms and the distant chatter of guards indicate she's in. The initial wave of security is met with a blur of motion. Guards, surprised by her unorthodox entry, are quickly dispatched with a series of silent takedowns. The thud of a body, the clack of a dropped weapon, followed by swift, brutal efficiency. She moves through the pristine, sterile corridors like a predator, a deadly whisper. The stark contrast between the futuristic environment and her primal, vengeful mission makes every move feel impactful. It's a reminder that even in the age of digital warfare, sometimes all you need is a really good pair of climbing shoes and a whole lot of anger. And maybe a really effective chiropractor for later. Rooney's path through Kale's lair eventually leads her to the pulsing heart of his operation. A massive server room, a cathedral of blinking lights and humming machines. This isn't just a room. It's a digital labyrinth, and it's heavily guarded. The air is thick with the cold, sterile scent of electronics and the constant whirring of cooling fans. Before she can even download the latest cat videos, a squad of Volkov elite guards armed to the teeth converge. The crack of automatic rifle fire echoes through the metallic space, deafening and disorienting. Rooney, however, turns the environment into her ally. She uses the towering server racks as cover, leverage, and even impromptu weapons. The clatter of spent shell casings on the polished floor, the thump of bullets embedding into reinforced steel. She springs from cover, executing lightning-fast strikes, the snap of a guard's arm, the gasp of another as she disarms him with a balletic sweep. A guard tries to flank her, only to be met with a perfectly timed roundhouse kick that sends him sprawling into a rack, causing a shower of sparks and the hiss of damaged wiring. The room becomes a ballet of destruction, a symphony of violence where every movement is precise, every strike intentional. She weaves through the gunfire, a ghost in the machine, leaving a trail of incapacitated guards and sparking electronics. It's a testament to her unique training that she can perform a plie mid-firefight without losing her footing, or her lethal edge. Who needs a gym membership when you have an entire server farm of bad guys? After clearing the digital battlefield, Rooney corners Cale in his lavish, albeit now slightly scorched office. The air is thick with the acrid scent of ozone and the heavy weight of unspoken threats. Cale, a picture of sweaty panic despite his expensive suit, is no match for Rooney's icy composure. The clink of her blade against his throat is the only sound breaking the tense silence, more terrifying than any shout. She doesn't just ask questions, she demands answers, her voice a low, steady rumble of controlled fury. Who ordered it? She presses, the single question hanging heavy. Cale, sputtering and trying to bargain, eventually cracks under the relentless pressure and the very sharp persuasion of Rooney's knife. He reveals a name, a high-ranking individual far above the Volkovs, a ghost in the criminal underworld known only as the Puppeteer. This shadowy figure commissioned her family's murder, not for revenge against them, but, as a message to the director, a cruel power play. The rustle of a faded photograph she produces, a picture of her family smiling alive, makes Cale flinch. The realization hits Rooney like a physical blow. Her family was collateral damage, pawns in a game far larger than she imagined. The shiver of Cale's voice as he gives up the final pieces of the puzzle, confirming the depth of the betrayal. It's not just a murder. It's a calculated, cold-blooded act of strategic terrorism within the syndicates. Talk about being caught in the crossfire. And here I thought my biggest worry was accidentally sending a text to the wrong group chat. Armed with Cale's confession, Rooney doesn't hesitate. She confronts the director, her mentor and surrogate mother figure, in her stark, almost monastic office. The heavy wooden door creaks shut behind her, sealing them in a tense silence. The air crackles with unspoken accusations. Rooney lays out the truth, her voice shaking with a mixture of anger and betrayal. The director, usually an unreadable monolith, finally breaks. The gasp of a suppressed sob, the single glistening tear tracing a path down her weathered cheek, reveals a profound, hidden pain. She confesses she knew. She had known for years about the puppeteer's influence and the threat he posed. Rooney's family had been sacrificed, a brutal cost in a long-standing covert war between powerful factions, an attempt to sever a nascent alliance that could have shifted the entire balance of power. The director explains her silence, her impossible choice, saving the syndicate and countless other lives, or avenging one family and risking total war. The clench of Rooney's fists, the ragged intake of breath as the weight of this revelation settles. It's not just revenge now, it's a war between empires, and her family was merely the first casualty. This isn't a personal vendetta anymore. It's a full-blown geopolitical drama, but with more pirouettes and less boring committee meetings. Honestly, who knew organized crime could be so tragically Shakespearean? With the full scope of the puppeteer's power laid bare, Rooney and the now reluctant but determined director forge an uneasy alliance. Their target, the puppeteer's annual charity gala, a high society masquerade held within the opulent confines of the city's grand opera house. It's a stage fitting for a final act. Rooney meticulously studies blueprints of the opera house, her fingers tracing escape routes and vantage points. The rustle of large format architectural drawings, the click of a pen as she marks strategic points. This isn't just a mission. It's a performance, a meticulously choreographed dance of death. We see a montage of her preparations, acquiring specialized gear, practicing intricate combat sequences in a dimly lit studio, her movements now imbued with an even greater sense of purpose and precision. The whish of her practice blade, the snap of a grapple hook. She's not just preparing for a fight, she's preparing for a symphony of destruction. The director, using her vast network, provides access codes, schematics, and intel on the puppeteer's formidable security detail, a group of highly trained mercenaries who make Kale's goons look like a high school chess club. The stakes are astronomically high. This isn't just about personal vengeance anymore. It's about disrupting a global criminal network and avenging countless other victims. She's practically a one-woman Avengers team, but with significantly more elegant footwear. Let's hope the puppeteer appreciates avant-garde performance art. The night of the gala arrives, a dazzling spectacle of wealth and influence. The Opera House, usually a beacon of cultural refinement, is now a gilded cage for a much darker purpose. Rooney arrives, not through a shattered window, but through the front entrance, a vision of elegance in a stunning blood-red gown. Her face is obscured by an exquisite mask, her identity a secret among hundreds of other masked elites. The chatter of polite conversation, the clink of champagne glasses, the rich orchestral music filling the air, it all creates a hypnotic, almost suffocating atmosphere. She moves through the throng, a silent predator amidst the swirling colors and muffled laughter. The swish of her dress, the soft tap of her heels on the marble floor are the only sounds she makes. Her eyes, however, are constantly scanning, calculating, searching for vulnerabilities. She effortlessly bypasses the initial layers of security, a subtle flick of a hand distracting a guard, a brush past a surveillance camera. She's not just an attendee. She's an infiltrator, an undetectable anomaly. Every smile, every nod, every polite gesture is a calculated move in her deadly ballet. It's like a really fancy game of Among Us, but with much higher stakes and 0 imposter votes for Rooney. Because, let's face it, she's too good to get caught chatting near the vents. As Rooney makes her way backstage, the glamorous facade of the gala gives way to the gritty, chaotic reality of a working opera house. Here, amidst stacks of scenery, costume racks, and intricate stage machinery, she encounters the puppeteer's elite personal guard. These aren't your typical rent-a-cops. These guys look like they trained with actual ninjas. The thump of their combat boots on the wooden floor, the low growl of their warnings. What follows is a brutal, beautifully choreographed brawl that is pure ballerina brilliance. Rooney uses the environment to her advantage. A well-placed plie sends her spinning past a guard, allowing her to snatch a stray piece of costume jewelry which quickly becomes a makeshift projectile. She leaps over a pile of tutus, performing a perfect grand jeté, only to land a devastating kick. The clang of metal as she disarms a guard, the whoosh of fabric as she uses a flowing curtain to disorient another. The sounds are a mix of surprising artistry and bone-jarring impact. The crack of a security guard's jaw, the shatter of a delicate porcelain prop, the gasp of a technician caught in the crossfire. It's a dance of destruction, each movement precise, elegant, and utterly lethal. She moves through the chaos like a true prima ballerina, except her dance partners are heavily armed and quite uncooperative. Honestly, this is probably more exciting than whatever opera was actually supposed to be performed tonight. After battling through layers of security, Rooney finally corners the puppeteer in their lavish private box overlooking the main stage. The haunting strains of a tragic aria drift up from below, providing a darkly poetic soundtrack to this inevitable confrontation. The puppeteer, a figure cloaked in mystery, turns, a mocking smile visible even through their ornate mask. Rooney's blade is out, her eyes blazing with raw vengeance. "Who are you?" she demands, her voice a guttural whisper. With a slow, deliberate movement, the puppeteer lifts their mask. The reveal isn't just shocking, it's a gut punch. It's not a stranger. It's someone Rooney knew, someone from her past within the syndicate. A figure she once admired or perhaps even trusted. Let's call him Master Sergei, a former high-ranking Ruska Roma strategist who supposedly retired. The gasp escapes Rooney's lips, a sound of profound betrayal. Sergei's voice, now devoid of any warmth, is chillingly calm as he explains his motive, a deep-seated resentment against the director, a desire to seize control and reshape the underworld in his own image. and Rooney's family was merely a disposable stepping stone. The revelation adds a searing layer of personal anguish to Rooney's mission. This isn't just about revenge. It's about confronting a ghost from her past, a phantom limb of her broken trust. The metallic clink as her grip tightens on her blade is the only sound of her internal turmoil. Turns out the biggest betrayals usually come from inside the house. Or, the opera house. The confrontation with Master Sergei spills out onto the rain-swept rooftop of the opera house, a fittingly dramatic arena for their final, deadly dance. The sky weeps with a torrential downpour, each fat droplet splashing against the slick stone, mirroring Rooney's internal storm. The howl of the wind, the crash of thunder. The elements themselves seem to be providing the soundtrack to this epic duel. Sergei, it turns out, is a formidable combatant, his own training just as rigorous, if less graceful, than Rooney's. Their fight is a brutal ballet of close-quarters combat. Rooney's fluid, acrobatic movements are met with Sergei's raw, calculated power. The thud of a blocked punch, the swish of a near-miss blade, the grunt of exertion from both combatants. Water streams down their faces, mixing with blood and sweat. Rooney utilizes every inch of her ballet training. A powerful spin becomes a disarming move. A graceful leap sets her up for a devastating kick. Sergei, surprisingly agile for his age and bulk, counters with relentless strikes trying to overpower her. The clang of their blades, the slap of bare skin on wet stone. Each movement is imbued with years of pain, betrayal, and unyielding resolve. The tension is almost unbearable, punctuated by the rhythmic patter of the rain. It's a fight for vengeance, for legacy, and for the very soul of the underworld. You could say it's raining cats and dogs, but mostly just really angry assassins. And honestly, it's probably the most artistic street fight you'll ever see, even with all the blood. Finally, after a brutal, prolonged struggle, Rooney triumphs. The thud of Sergei's body hitting the wet rooftop is chillingly final, echoing in the suddenly quiet air. The fight has exacted a heavy toll. She's bruised, bleeding, and utterly exhausted, her body screaming in protest. The torrential downpour has softened to a gentle drizzle, washing away some of the grime, but not the memories. She stands alone, silhouetted against the nascent glow of dawn, overlooking a city slowly waking up, oblivious to the night's deadly dance. The shiver of cold wind cuts through her tattered gown. But it's a small discomfort compared to the emptiness that follows. The revenge she sought, the driving force behind her every move, is finally complete. But what now? The silence, once deafening, now feels different. Less about unresolved pain and more about quiet contemplation. The caw of a distant bird, the soft rush of city traffic starting up below, are the sounds of a world moving on. She's no longer just an instrument of vengeance. She's a survivor, a force to be reckoned with, but now also a blank canvas. The director will likely seek her out, the syndicate will demand its due. But for this brief moment, Rooney is just herself, a ballerina who found her own brutal way to pirouette through the darkness, finally free to choose her next dance. It's a moment of solemn victory, tinged with the weary understanding that some scars never truly fade, but new beginnings, like the sunrise, always offer a glimmer of hope. And so, Rooney walks away from the opera house, leaving behind the blood-soaked stage of her revenge. The mask, a symbol of her hidden life, is discarded, a small clink as it hits the wet pavement, a silent declaration of a new beginning. The future stretches before her, an unwritten score filled with possibilities both perilous and promising. Her journey has been a testament to resilience, a brutal exploration of what it means to reclaim one's agency in a world determined to break you. It reminds us that even from the deepest despair, a new path can emerge, forged by strength, skill, and an unwavering spirit. The echo of her family's memory will always be with her, a silent reminder of the price of peace and the weight of justice. But now it's a foundation, not a burden. It's a powerful narrative about finding your own rhythm in the chaos, owning your past, and daring to dance towards an unknown, yet potentially brighter horizon. And with that, we wrap up our dive into Ballerina 2025. If you've stuck around this long, you're the real MVP. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the movies you love. Until next time, keep watching, keep thinking, and maybe don't try any of these moves at home. Unless you're, a highly trained assassin.